Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. While we continue with the program, the delegation of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture in Trinidad and Tobago is collaborating with the Engineering Division, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries to host a workshop on an approach for developing an integrated water resource plan for the agricultural sector of Trinidad and Tobago. And here to tell us more, we have Dr. Cheney St. Martin, International Specialist, Soil and Water Management of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. We are also joined by Mr. Zuki Deutsch, Water Management Expert from Galilee International Management Institute in Israel. I understand it's his first time in Trinidad. Good morning and welcome. It's a pleasure having you both. Now, we're very excited to talk about an initiative like this. Is it the first time that we're having a workshop of this nature?
It is not the first time that we're having it, but it is the first time within recent years that we actually have the expertise like that to actually inform the process from an experience of Israel. As we know, Israel is #1 in water management, so it's the first time that we have this close relationship specifically for agriculture to develop that particular plan.
What would have led to an initiative like this, and how important is it?
But it really stems from the importance of water. I'm sure before we even started, you had a drink of water, right? And the whole issue about the information about that as it relates to food and how the demands and also the supply of it. So in the agricultural sector, water is very important, whether it's for food production, and also the quality of water is very important. And the information on it that leads to the management is very important to ensure that you have a healthy doubles if you eat it as well. And so it is from that the importance of it came out, and we felt that we needed to manage water, particularly the quantity and the quality, as best as we could, particularly in the agricultural sector.
So this is what this workshop is all about?
That is what it's about.
All right. How do you feel to be here in Trinidad and Tobago sharing your information?
I'm very happy to be here. Very nice people, nice country. A few facts about Israel so we can get the picture. Israel is quite small country, like 8 million people with a quite small piece of land. We are located in a semi-desert area, which means half of the country is desert. We have like between 100 to 200 millimeter rain a year, like 1/10 of the amount of rain that you have here. And because of this problem of lack of water, during the years, we develop all kinds of methods in order to be very efficient in the water sector. And for example, we were the first that invite the drip irrigation in the 60s and the 70s. It's a system that you can irrigate the plants exactly how much they need, and this helps us to develop a very successful agriculture in the desert, in the south of Israel. We also reuse almost all the sewage effluent in Israel, like 90% of the sewage. Number 2 in the world, it's Spain with 20%. And now we are leading the world in the desalination plant. So we have good technologies, but mainly we are focusing in management. Okay. Because even though you have very successful technologies, if you don't manage the consumption, the demand, guide the public how to save water. So we are dealing with all the aspects of the water sector. And I come here on behalf of ICA and the Galilee International Institute to share this knowledge and to see what can we do here in order to improve the consumption of the water here, the quality, and by improving the management.
Yes. Now, when we talk about water conservation and water management as a country, Trinidad and Tobago, where are we?
Oh, that is a very good question. We are not at least at the level of Israel. Let me be very diplomatic in that. And as he said, that the closest country that has that water conservation, particularly when it relates to water reuse, was Spain, 20%. Yeah. The major thing for us in terms of conservation is that we need the data resources. We need to know what we have. We also need to have the proper infrastructure, and of course, we need to have the policy to guide it and enforce the policy as well. If we are not doing that, then it's very hard to tell where we are. Obviously, we could take a very cursory look and look at how people use water in their homes, what are the technology they use in their homes as well, and that could tell a story that it is not on the first thing in the agenda. Are you going to, for example, buy a specific faucet to reduce the amount of water? Do you actually know how much water you consume a day in the household? How many persons actually know that? How long the period for your baths and different uses of water? So if you look at it from the cursory level, you could see that there is much need to improve our efficiency in terms of the use of water, whether it's on a household level, a farm level, institutional level as well.
Great. So now that you've highlighted that, we've spoken about the data resources, the infrastructure, the policy enforcement. All these things are things that need to be done in order to support whatever plans we have in place. So what would be the focus of this workshop? Is it more on the household use, or is it on the proper policy enforcement and that sort of thing, or is it both?
Right, so specifically, we're looking at water and agriculture. ICA historically is really an institution that deals with, it supports the member states in agriculture development and also rural well-being through technical cooperation. So our focus through our mandate is really on water and agriculture. Obviously, because of the rural nature and focus of ICA, you cannot leave out households and also family farming, because they are, by majority, the small farms, they are the ones that actually manage the farms. And so this workshop really focuses on agriculture. It looks at the rivers, for example, the Caroni rivers. How do we extract, how the farmers actually use water, flood waters to irrigate, and the potential health benefits. So we'll be moving from the whole issue of determining the supply that we have, the sources of water, the demand, the quality, and how we could better inform practices on the farm to ensure that the consumers like us, we are guaranteed that we are eating something that is safe, whether it is something that is safe hygienically in terms of the microbes, or something that is relatively within the limits for things like pesticides. And that obviously is a concern for everybody, whether it's in agriculture or out of agriculture, primarily because we eat.
Yes. Now, Mr. Deutsch, what would you be speaking on?
In general, I will speak about all the system that we know today and all the methods that can bring a country to manage the water sector wisely, because the situation here is different from Israel.
Yes.
But you have the two basic things that that you can have a very good water system. You have enough water, enough rain, and you are not a poor country. So if you have this basic, you can do with technology, with proper management, everything that need in order to give the citizen and the farmers good water and quality water. So the workshop will deal with all the aspects of the water sector, but we will want to adapt the technology and the management to your people, to your country. And yesterday I met the minister, your Minister of Agriculture, and I was very pleased to hear that he is anxious to do things, not only to plan, and it's a good start.
Yes. I'd like you to comment on that, your collaborations with the Minister and the Ministry of Agriculture.
Oh, well, by ICA, because of the organization that ICA has, the mandate for work that we do in any specific country or region comes from the country itself, primarily in that case, the Ministry of Agriculture. So the Ministry of Agriculture in any of the country, a very strong partner of ICA. particularly in Trinidad, we have had a special relationship, a very fruitful relationship with the ministry, specifically the engineering division, who is actually which is actually the division that we're primarily working with in that particular workshop. And they have done tremendous work in terms of building in-house capacity for flood mitigation through our collaboration. And also now we have the issue of developing an integrated water resource plan for agriculture. The issue is this also, and it must be said, that this is something that nationally, Trinidad is actually going to develop a national integrated water resource management plan. And that means it is across many sectors. What the engineering division has done is to passionately involve and start the ball rolling to inform agriculture, what position agriculture will be in that national plan. And so it is very encouraging. The engineering division, I must say, from the ministry, it has been a very fruitful relationship, very open, very visionary, and I am sure that with the ICA, we will continue. We also, through that collaboration, that is why we felt that it was necessary for the Ghanaian Institute to actually be there. The Ghanaian Institute has done a lot of work in Middle East and also the South African countries. But this is one of the major interventions in the Caribbean region, specifically as it relates to developing that integrated water resource management plan.
Wonderful. So when exactly is this workshop?
Well, it actually started yesterday, and it is going to end on Friday. One of the things that we are doing, apart from the workshop, it is open to the technical persons, the persons in the division of agriculture, and also other interested persons. What is the fundamental end of it as well? Apart from developing a draft framework for that integrated water resource plan for agriculture, is that when we actually have the persons there, what we're looking to do is to allow a networking. So he will actually be there on Friday, where we'll open it to other persons, other stakeholders that have some kind of connection or some kind of vision that they want to develop a collaboration with the Ghanaian Institute. The thing about them as well is that they're not only involved in water, they have a very long reputation. They deal with management issues, they look at climate change issues, environmental issues, business management issues, etc. So it's a wonderful opportunity for even persons outside of agriculture to come and get that network with the Institute.
Do you need to register to attend this workshop?
No, we have made it very simple, just like drinking a cup of water. You show up and you will be very well accommodated and welcome.
Where is it being held?
It is at Centeno, that is the Centeno here, which is with the Ministry of Agriculture Engineering Division. Right there.
How many people are you looking to accommodate?
Right now, yesterday, we had about 20-something persons.
Okay.
From the session yesterday, which was very interesting and person, I'm expecting it to be maintained, and probably after the morning show, we might need to get another room and increase the size. You never know.
It sounds fantastic. What is the next step after this workshop?
The next step, it has always been, again, like I said, ICA already supports the mandate of the country. The next step is to get Ghanaian Institute more involved, and after we've had that approach with the participatory, and now you have in-house capacity to actually understand the process, we will be working with them, really rolling the stone to ensure that this thing comes out. But more so, it is not just a plan, and the minister said that, it is not just a plan that is 250 pages thick, and the ordinary person does not understand it. The issue about the participatory, and that's very important, is that normally it would be technicians making the plans. But this particular plan or approach, it asks the question, or it asks the input for the consumers. So for example, how do you feel about water? What is your voice? What is your concern? And it integrates that along a technical framework or background. And so that is the difference, and that is what we encourage. And it's very inclusive. And that is what we want to go forward with, to produce that product, but more so not a product, but more an outcome.
Yes. Mr. Deutsch, you would probably have done some research on Trinidad and Tobago as it pertains to our water management and conservation. Do you think we have a long way to go? We have a lot of work to do?
Yes, we have a long way to do. But like I said before, you have the basic.
Yes.
And if you are enough with a strong vision like Martin drew, it will be not so easy, but not so tough.
Yes. What about the cost involved in actually making these things happen? And we talk about water conservation and that sort of thing, facilities, putting things in place to make this actually happen.
Right, actually, that's you sounded like you were in the workshop yesterday. That is actually one of the driving points. And actually, if you ask, there's actually a whole chapter dedicated, a whole section dedicated on that. So it is not just a plan without the limit or constraints of the cost. Any technology, any system and process that we are looking at, it has to be something that is economically feasible and you actually get value for it. In any integrated water resource management plan, there is a fundamental cost for some of the infrastructure and also the equipment. That is something that we cannot do without. But when you actually look at the returns in terms of, you cannot put a price on health of a population, particularly because of the productivity that, that is related to. So the issue is that that plan will look at value. It is not just any expensive technology. It will be done in the context of the resources of Trinidad and Tobago, what is affordable and what value is returned from that investment.
Great. So this started yesterday. It continues throughout the week until Friday. Friday is the last day of the workshop. Is there a number to call for further information on this workshop?
Yes, you could definitely call 355
355
78
53. Who would you like to see attend this workshop? And I know you said it's not just limited to those in the agriculture sector, but it can extend even further because of the expertise. So who would you like to see attend this workshop?
Definitely who I'd like to see. Some of the persons are there, or I'd like to see some of the farmer representatives there. I also would like to see some of the technicians, but as well, if there are some consumer groups, and I think that is the thing, and also policymakers as well, some legislator. Because as the word suggests, the integrated issue, the conversation has to be had amongst persons, different roles and responsibility in the society.
Yes.
So I would like to see not only farmers, probably you could take a little pass, particularly on Friday, and see what we could do. So you hear the conversation, you become more aware, even if it changes your practices in your household, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful. And Mr. Deutsch, what are your closing comments at this time? What would you like to say to those looking on and listening?
I want to leave here on Friday or Saturday after we have a good picture of what is needed.
Yes.
And we have a beginning of a plan that can take Trinidad to the safe place in sense of the water sector.
Yes. So he will be returning in terms of the execution part of it. So this is just a workshop.
Yes, and so that is hopefully what we do, and that is our first attempt to actually start out that relationship. Because we've seen a lot of value from that relationship. Like I said, not only with the water sector, but other sectors as well. So that is the first thing, and the strategic push to get the Galilean Institute there. I'm actually an alumni of Galilean Institute, and to get them here is to say, well, hey, you have not been working in the Caribbean, you'll need to come here and experience something different. And I think that was a good enough selling point. But I must, before we end, I must say that ICA, particularly for the programs that we have had, these are the kind of strategic visions that we are looking at. We are looking at not just necessarily bringing something new, but working with what we have and seeing the strategic niche areas that are needed and how we could actually facilitate that particular thing. That is something that we'll emphasize. ICA now in Trinidad and Tobago, we're celebrating 40 years. And you will probably have to invite us again for some of the activities that we're going to be having, marking that 40-year anniversary.
Yes, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much, and we hope that you enjoy your stay. There's a doubles vendor further up the street. I know he will take you.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. We've been chatting with Mr. Zuki Deutsch, water management expert from the Galilee International Management Institute in Israel. We've also been chatting with Dr. Cheney St. Martin, international specialist soil and water management of ICA. The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, talking to us about their strategic vision in developing an integrated water resource plan. It's been a pleasure. We take a short break, a lot more when we return. Stay tuned.